restructuring, projects ending, etc. How do you get to your foot in the front door when the gatekeeper perception of jumping around seems to be the roadblock? So, it's funny, we are doing a class right now for all our members at Work It Daily called Make Recruiters Come to You. And Michael, this would be a course that would benefit you greatly. The problem when you have a job jumping kind of situation in your resume is that you're easily dismissed. So applying online is not going to work for you. It's already very difficult to get a phone call when you apply online, folks. Less than 3% of candidates ever get a phone call, and that's if you're 100% match. So that fact that you've got the job jumping pass is what's eliminating you. Now, how do you work around that? How do you go around that ATS system? How do you get the recruiters to come to you? Well, you have to change the narrative. You have to change the story, which Michael is figuring out here. And the only way that happens is through referral. So Michael, you're going to have to build a strategy that gets people to contact recruiters, hiring managers, etc., and pitch the story around you that will make them look past the stops and starts, right? So instead of screening you out based on what they see, we need a way to screen you in. Now, the other key component to that when you're having somebody help you get introduced is what we call a disruptive cover letter. And if you haven't ever watched our videos on that here on YouTube, you should. The disruptive cover letter is probably one of the single most important techniques that we coach people on inside the Work It Daily program. In fact, it's probably one of my favorite things because we get to read the cover letters, the disruptive cover letters that people write, because we proof them for them and we make sure that they're on the mark and they're sending the right message. And I can tell you time and again that somebody's inside our private Slack channel saying, hey, that cover letter just got me a job interview, in spite of the fact that I haven't worked in 2 years or that I have this job jumping past. When you're able to tell a really compelling and interesting story that gets that recruiter or hiring manager at hello, they're going to read that first, and then they're going to go over to the resume and say, okay, he does have this, a couple of things here and there, but gosh, that cover letter was so good. It was so original. It was really got me. I'm going to call and find out what's going on, because how could somebody who wrote such a good and authentic cover letter not be, worth talking to? That's exactly what goes through a recruiter's head. So you've really got a two-pronged approach here. You're going to need some help getting networking in, and then you're going to need to work on those disruptive cover letters. And they work, Michael. It takes more time and energy. You can continue to sit there and blast jobs online, and you'll get nowhere other than feeling really defeated. Or you can invest time and energy in a more technical strategy like I'm talking about here, and that will help you get the results that you're looking for. It's all about marketing and messaging, but you've got to get that market and that message in their hands in a certain way. And just applying online isn't going to do that. All right, great question. Let's see, another one here from Mindy. My job was just eliminated. I'm sorry, Mindy. I need to start a search again at age 63. My qualifications are great, resume set, networking. I just can't get out of bed in the morning and get over the anxiety. All right, so it can be tough, Mindy, but I'm going to challenge you on something. I'm not getting a sense that you were, in love with your last job. Maybe I'm wrong because you've only written a little bit here. I get the sense that you're really afraid to go out there and look again. And that tells me you're just not excited about work in general. Because somebody who loves the problems that they solve, loves the pain that they alleviate, loves the way they create value and deliver value on the job, they just want to get out there and do that again. And they know that there's somebody else out there, there's another company out there that needs them. So I think the bigger concern I have for you right now, Mindy, is there's some serious doubts around how you feel about the work that you do. I'm reading between the lines, but I often hear people who say this because they go, gosh, I was going to the job, I was getting it done, I was just trying to coast through until I had to retire. I didn't love what I did, but come on, it paid the bills, and now all of a sudden I lost it. I have no energy to go do that because I didn't like what I was doing in the first place. So why do I have any energy to go do a job I don't really truly love or like at this stage in my life? That's what makes it hard to get out of bed in the morning. If you love what you do, if you love the problems that you solve, the pain that you alleviate, the people that you serve, then you do hop out of bed going, I'm going to go find someone else to do that for. So this may be an opportunity for you to be rethinking about where you want to work, what you want to do, how you want to deliver value. This may have happened for a reason, Mindy. While I don't want anyone to ever lose their job, I say use it. Use it to your advantage. Ask yourself, what is holding me back from jumping out of bed in the morning? And what kind of job would I have to have that would make me jump out of bed in the morning? That's how you have to think. You know, I don't want to get into that whole law of attraction mindset, but I am going to tell you that right now you're carrying a lot of rocks around in your head. And if you haven't seen my video on that, dropping the rocks, then what you're doing is lugging around a lot of past experiences, a lot of thoughts, and a lot of perceptions that are extremely negative. And that's why you can't get out of bed in the morning. So we got to remove those. We got to get you to drop the rocks. We got to get you to replace it with some excitement and some ideas around what you could do and what would make you want to get up every day. And that would be the first place that I'd start, Mindy. I really would, because you're going to have to fix that. Once you fix that, it all falls into place. You're going to know where to look for work. You're going to know what to say when you network with people. You're going to have an energy that attracts the results that you're looking for. And that all begins with what's going on up here, okay? All right. Well, good luck. You can do it. All right, and I see a third question here from Sebastian. I'm interested in astrology and healing. I have a belief that esoteric area is less popular, therefore is it safer to stick with conventional jobs? I'm looking forward to changing a current mindset. So Sebastian, I'm going to say, I'm always going to tell you the truth. Astrology, healing are kind of, they're not mainstream, but lots of people care about it. I mean, just get onto the internet and how many different horoscope and astrology sites are there? Healing and wellness is a big thing. Mindfulness is super popular. It's changing, especially here in, you know, the Western world. People are really starting to tune into this more. So I think it's, I'm not going to say up and coming because it's already there. But, you know, I think there's not as much ease to just dive in and get a job in it. So a couple of thoughts for you. If you were inside the Work It Daily program, we would have you create a bucket list of employers that you would really want to work for in that space and why. And start to deepen your connection and understanding of your brand. You need to really come up with a brand strategy for your business of one. Who am I? What's the problem I solve? What's the pain that I alleviate? How does that tie to astrology and healing? And how do I share that message with the world to get people to think of me for jobs at these companies? So that would be the one strategy. The second thing is that it sounds like you're a perfect person for what we call a hobby career or a side hustle. I think you should be figuring out how to do this on a part-time basis. And you could keep a mainstream job with benefits. And as you build up your expertise with a real focus over the next couple of years, you could transition yourself into a full-time role in the astrology and healing area, right? Because you could use your research and your knowledge and your experience on the side hustle in order to figure that out. So there's baby steps. We call it lily padding, right? Like a frog jumping over to that you can do in terms of building that out. So those would be the two ways that I would be having you look at this, but I would definitely go after it. It's clearly something you care about, so I wouldn't push it off. I would either focus it on your side hustle and hobby career and build it, or I would go all in and start thinking about your brand and the companies that you could align yourself with that would allow you to work in that field right away. I mean, what products and services within astrology and healing do you love and why? What companies do you feel are knocking it out of the park and why? These would be the companies that would make it on your bucket list, and then we would teach you the strategy for connecting with them. Okay? All right. Let's see. So a couple of shout outs. Monica's first time watching live. Go Monica, glad to have you here. Hey Sean, out in Lafayette, Louisiana, great part of the country. All right, Monica's question is, I currently have my resume, the headline says Assembly and Operations Specialist, although I feel this is not the best for the jobs I'm searching for. How do I have a killer headline for my CV? So Monica, I think my first question is, well, what do you want to be doing? Because that should be in the headline, along with your key skill sets that support that. So if you don't want to be doing assembly and operations, then you need to remove that. And you need to put down the skill sets that you want to be leveraging and why. And that's what I would do. That being said, if you're making a career change, Monica, I have a video here on YouTube where I talk about career change and how important it is to signal, to switch lanes. And I would also say that, similar to my earlier comments for somebody who's job jumping, when you're changing careers, even if you have a stellar track record in your first career, when you're changing careers, you're naturally going to be weeded out of the online application process because you don't fit the past work history. So you're going to also have to build a very proactive, targeted strategy for connecting with these employers to get them to see you for your potential, not for your past. And there is a strategy and a way to do that. And we work with people every single day inside Work It Daily to make that happen. But getting that resume headline is important, but it's not going to be the only thing that gets you noticed. You're really going to have to build that strategy, that disruptive cover letter, that targeting strategy, that networking strategy in order for people to pay attention to you and for you to be able to actually deliver a first impression that gets them to see beyond what your past work history is, okay? All right, you can do it though, Monica. People do it every day. I know you can do it. Okay, let's see. Question here is, let's see. Going down there. Studio 28A. Is it a good idea to contact recruiters for a position that you know is open? I'm in your course and it is amazing. Oh, that's really good to hear. We thank you for that. So if you know a position is open, it is okay to reach out to a recruiter, but I would say this. I would first study all the people that work at that company and see if you know anybody in your own network who knows somebody there. It is always the best way to get your foot in the door is to go through a connection. So even if somebody you know knows somebody, say in finance, but you want to work in customer service, it's still go to the finance person. Because what you want to do is ask your friend to connect them, say, hey, I'm in love with this company, here's why. I see you know so-and-so. Would you be willing to make an introduction? I'm not gonna ask him or her to get me a job. I just want to hear their perspective on what it takes to stand out in the hiring process, and if they have any tips on how I might do that when I apply to the recruiter, when I reach out to the recruiter. It really helps to get that inside scoop from somebody, and people are always willing to give their advice as opposed to being pressured into getting you the job. So once you get that advice, what happens is if you get to talk to that person on the phone, or they usually get to know you and go, oh my gosh, well, let me just walk your resume down the hallway, or let me just make that email introduction. And that's because now they've had a conversation with you. They know your personality is okay. They know your backstory. And a lot of times employees will get bonuses and recognition for referring candidates. So you're actually doing people a favor. Don't think you're not, folks. If you actually get to connect with somebody and ask for their guidance and tips, and they like you and they offer to pass it along, there's probably something in it for them. So it's a win-win situation. So that's what I would be doing. And then you could even say to them, I see that so-and-so is the recruiter. Do you think it would be okay for me to reach out to them directly? Do you have any advice on how to reach out to that recruiter? And then you might get that introduction to that recruiter directly. Now, if you can't do that, all of that I described, then yes, I would go ahead and reach to the recruiter. But I got to tell you, make sure you use that disruptive cover letter, because recruiters read the same old boring resumes every day, and their job is as a technical buyer to screen you out. And if they have a same old boring cover letter, they're going to screen you out. So you've got to do your extra homework and build that compelling story before you reach out to that recruiter. Otherwise, once a technical buyer said no, then it's really hard to come back from. Okay, so that's why I suggest you go through the other channels first. All right. Let's see. Question from Lisa. When networking with people in other functions, is it best to highlight what happens because of your using analogies, but how can you do that for a B2B role? So I'm not sure I understand your question, Lisa. So if you're networking with people who are in a different function, I'm assuming you mean different job than yourself, you're focused on the company and what it does, not on their work specifically, because you do different things, okay? It's good. You want to ask them about their work and how it ties and whatnot, but I get it. You're not sharing the same skill set, but you do share the same passion for the employer. So focusing in on what the company does and how their role ties to the success of the company is what I would focus on in the networking. All right, Erwin says, I followed your resume template that has the 10 skills on the top. I've been told I should have a career summary. What do you say? I say no. I say that is your career summary, Erwin. You have a headline, you have 10 skill sets at the top, and then you have all the other applicable information we tell you to put in the top fold. I get this a lot, folks. If someone says, and this is the part that's funny, if someone calls you and says, I saw your resume, I need more information, and by the way, you should put a career summary at the top, right? You just go, oh, okay, that's great feedback, thank you. And then you don't do it. And that's because you got them to call you with the top fold that you have. The whole point is to not overdo it. Long, wordy paragraphs on the top of a resume don't get read. Fact. I am not making this up. Recruiters skim resumes. They're not going to read an epic long, self-important paragraph at the top. They're not going to read the career summary. Instead, they're going to look at your skill sets, go, huh, that's interesting. Look at your work history, go, huh, that's interesting. I should call Erwin and find out more about that. Let me have him tell me his career summary himself. See the difference? Now you've got them on the phone. They get to hear your personality. They get to ask you some questions. You make a connection. You build a relationship. And they give you the feedback that you should put a career summary on there. They might even say to you, look, I can't submit you without a career summary. So will you write a career summary and put it on your resume? Sure, do it for them right then. There's a job at stake for that one time. And then leave your top fold alone. You have to trust me on this, folks. People tell you that they want that, but it works against you. It's how they screen you out. And so our formula, our resume formula, I'm not going to lie, it is the best. I say that, and I know it sounds so cocky, but I have been doing this for years, and our resumes get phone calls, right? Now, you got to use our entire process. You got to know how to write the cover letter. You got to know how to go around the ATS system. You got to do all of the components. I'm never going to say, oh, just build a resume with Work It Daily and start using ATS, because that doesn't work. No resume is going to do that. But use our resume process, use our cover letters, use our outreach process, you're going to get results. Okay? All right. Kay Gardner says, following your advice, I wrote a unique cover letter. What would you recommend mailing my cover letter and resume to the VP of Human Resources instead of relying solely upon online? Yes, exactly. Or better still, find somebody you know that knows the VP of Human Resources and see if you can get the email and send a note that says, dear so-and-so, I was referred to you by, you know, my friend so-and-so. Attaches the story of why I feel so connected to your company. That's all you write. Attaches the story why I feel so connected to your company. That's what you put in the email, because that piques their interest. If you can't, then send it snail mail. Most definitely with that cover letter right on the top. And if you've done the cover letter in the format we teach you, it's like a little mini story that just gets them at hello. And that's what you're looking for. Okay. Question is dummying down the resume. Oh, so funny. You don't have to dummy down the resume if you use our format. I don't believe in lying. I don't believe in leaving stuff off. You're going to screw yourself. Excuse my language, folks. I have people all the time say, oh, I'm going to hide my MBA. I'm going to hide my master's. You do that, and then later on, the company says, oh, we wish you had your master's, or we wish you had an MBA, and their answer is, and you say, I do, and they go, where was it on your resume? And you say, oh, I didn't put it on there. You look like a liar. You never should lie. You don't have to dumb down your resume. You have to revamp your resume in a way that the relevant stuff is in the top fold, and the rest of the stuff can go down at the very end in the additional experience section. Trust me. Trust me on this. It's the way to do it. So no dummying down. It's all about the formatting. All right. Oh, and by the way, a shout out to Michael Townsend. Michael, love you, love you. Michael is an amazing veteran recruiter. And by veteran, I mean top notch, like high level, knows his stuff recruiter. So he is here today on the call, and he's agreeing with me about the summary. See, my friends? I would not make this up. Thank you, Michael. Thank you, thank you. But seriously, check him out. He's like one of the best in the industry. Okay. Let's see. Other questions. So I'm going to stop here really quick because we've only got about 10 minutes left. Remind you that my amazing partners in crime here are giving you a time-sensitive coupon. Gets you $10 off our program. Right now, it costs $29 a month to join our professional group and $69 a month to join our executive group. Using this coupon gets you $10 a month off. Think about that. It's more than 1/3. So for $19 a month, you can join our professional group. You can work with our team of career coaches and be part of a private community with thousands of like-minded professionals who are crushing it every single day. It's amazing. And if you're an executive, you can join our group for $59 a month, save $10, right? And in there, you'll work with a much smaller group of professionals, executive level professionals, and you'll work personally with me. Right now, I am the lead career coach inside that platform working specifically. We also have an additional office hours specifically for executives as part of that program. It is a more expensive program, folks, but you know, it's for people who are looking for that additional level at the executive level. So check that out. Save $10 a month on that, or save seriously $19 a month. With our coupon, $19 a month, you can get inside our professional program instantly today. Start working on all the stuff we've talked about here today. All of our video tutorials, all of our templates, all of our additional courses. You can get access to the Make Recruiters Come to You class that we're in the middle of doing right now, which is phenomenal. And you'll be part of a private community 24/7. You can be chatting with other people about everything that's going on in your career, and it's not out, you know, in the universe for people to see. And it's monitored heavily. We have the best coaches. I can't say enough good stuff about it. We are the #1 online career coaching platform. I'm so proud of that. And you will not be disappointed, I promise you. So come check it out. Today's the day you should check it out. Awesome. Let's see. So Thomas says, I have a master's in economics and I'm 27 years old. I get either 2 replies, overqualified or not enough experience. What do you do? Thomas, you came to the right place today. Thank you for that. So Thomas has this degree. I see this happen a lot, right? So people graduate from college. They decide to go right ahead and get the master's degree to get it out of the way. And the colleges convince you of that, by the way. The colleges tell you, just keep going, get it done, then you don't have to worry about coming back later. What they don't mention is this weird position that it puts folks like Thomas in, where he's overqualified because he has the master's, but he doesn't actually have the practical experience to do the job, right? Okay. So Thomas, here's what you need to do. You need to come up with a bucket list of employers that are working on stuff in economics that really, really gets you excited. And it should tie to stuff that you did while you were studying your master's. So somewhere in your master's, because a master's is a more advanced degree, you focused on specific economic problems or issues. There's some problem within economics that you are particularly jazzed about. Maybe there's 2 or 3 top problems, but I need you to focus in on what those problems are and why they're so important and why you care so deeply about them. Then what you have to do for each of those problems is identify the top 10 companies that are doing things in this space that are very innovative related to that problem. All right? And now you're going to start to build your network. So this is where you're going to start to tap in, again, our networking course and our Make Recruiters Come to You courses teach you how to do this. But you're going to be able to reach out to individuals at these companies and start conversations around I see you're solving and focusing on solving this particular problem. I am so passionate about this problem. I worked on it all through my master's in school. I see this, and this is an issue. You're going to curate content, data, resources online. You're going to share stuff with them about that. You're going to get a conversation going about this thing that you nerd out on. And by starting that nerd out connection process, people are going to get to know you, Thomas, and they're going to go, huh, he knows what he's talking about. And then they're going to see, you have your master's, but you're only 27? He's a gem. He's a find. He's not overqualified. He's perfect. I've talked to him. He knows what he's talking about. Let's get him in here. That's how you work around this process. Right now, you applying online, you're going to get 100% no's because the system automatically knocks you out for having the master's. And if you get through because you have the master's, it knocks you out because you don't have enough experience. ATS is not your friend, Thomas. This process that I just explained, which we teach inside the program, it is your friend. And it's going to be so much more rewarding because you're going to get to do what you love to do, which is geek out on economics. That's why you got a master's in it. There's stuff that you just love to talk about. What we have to do is show you how to build that into your networking strategy. Okay? You can do it, Thomas, I'm telling you. And then you're going to be glad you got your master's. All right. Lori says, the career transition counselor that I'm working with, given to me from my previous employer, says employers don't read cover letters. Is there any truth in my counselor saying that? Okay. So the answer, Lori, is they don't read the boring cover letters that people teach you to write. That is true. They open the cover letter up, and the moment they see the first sentence is, I'm writing to you in response to the XYZ job, or I'd like you to consider my qualifications, whatever stuffy, self-important, boring title, they stop reading. If you learn how to write one of our cover letters, Lori, and it starts with this between the eyeballs bolded statement that makes them go, what? What is this? This isn't a cover letter. It's a disruptive cover letter. See the name? Now they're going to read it. And you know how I know that? Come join me inside Work It Daily. Get inside the channel and see all of the members that are going, they responded to my cover letter. I mean, yesterday, someone said, my dream company called me and said, best cover letter I ever read. I get those every day. So obviously they're reading them, but they probably don't call them cover letters. We call them disruptive cover letters. They might call them storytelling, introduction letters. They work. You just have to write them in an original format. And most people don't know to do that. And so they write the boring stuff and don't get a reaction and then assume they don't get read. Or some people candidly just don't want to put the energy in. And you know what, folks? If you don't want to put the energy in, then this isn't the right thing for you, because I'm all about you falling in love with an employer. You telling that employer a really cool story to get their attention. That employer calling you up excited to talk to you. And from the very first interaction, you and that employer embark on a really lovely exchange of connection to the point that you get hired, and you can't be more excited and they can't be more excited. See, that's what I believe in. That's what I believe job search should feel like to you. And the members of Work It Daily will show you that it can be done that way. But a lot of people are lazy. They just want to slap a resume together. They want to tweak the resume, ship it out to hundreds of things online, and have somebody call them. You can absolutely do that. You will not get results, and you will be depressed in the process because you will feel the rejection acutely. If you take control of the process and you invest time and energy in saying, who do I want to work for? And how do I tell them a story that makes them go, wow, right? And how do I get in front of them and get around the ATS? Then you're going to get some results. It's like anything, folks. Do you really want it? Is this job that's worth thousands of dollars, benefits, self-esteem that face it, your identity is wrapped into? Does it matter to you? If it does, then you put the effort in. If it doesn't, then you don't. And I know that's not you, by the way. I know that's not you at all. I'm just getting on my soapbox about it because I know none of you feel that way because you're here right now attending office hours. So I already know, pat yourself on the back. I already know that you're not one of those lazy people. But you know what I'm talking about, right? And I guess the last thing I'll say on that subject is that school teaches you everything except how to get the job. Where did you learn to job search, folks? Maybe from a mom or a dad, or they told you, friends told you what to do. Have you ever really truly been taught job search? Have you ever really been truly taught personal branding and identifying what you want and how to go after it? No, they don't teach it in school. Your family isn't trained in it. Your friends aren't trained in it. So give yourself that gift of getting it right and learning the right way to do it, and everything will change. It's like anything. Once you learn a skill set, everything changes. So, all right. There you have it, my friends. I've got time for just a couple more questions. Anne says, when interviewing, do you find government interviews different than private? Yes, they are, definitely, Anne. So the government process is entirely different. You have a whole bunch of forms that you need to fill out. This is one of those places where you literally have to fill out online because they can't interview you without you going through and filling out certain things. And then what happens is, based on clearances and experiences, you get ranked in terms of who gets looked at. I kind of don't love the autocratic process of the government, but that's how it works. Now, that being said, I know that for a fact that sometimes in urgent situations they go around this process. I also know that it pays to know people because they can tell you how to make sure that you're filling out the application process correctly. So it's a little different. When you get into the interview, they're still going to ask you behavioral questions. They're going to still go through your experience. So everything that you learn inside our interview prep course, which is killer, very comprehensive, is going to apply to you in the government process. But getting that interview, that's a bit more technical, right? So you got to get into the government process in order to do that. But then, once you're in, which is exciting. So I would just really say, align yourself, build yourself a board of directors of people who are working in government, especially in the sectors that you're interested in, and they can shed a lot of light on how to do that. Okay? Excellent. Very good. And Chad says, how do you connect with the executive level coaching? So what you do is you sign up for our executive level. Everyone is getting the info here. There's 2 levels, professional and executive. When you sign up for the executive, you'll get an email notification on how to log into all our classes, and you'll get an invitation to join the private executive Slack community. And once you accept that connection request and you're inside the Slack community, you will be able to direct message the career coach there, which is me. So you'll be able to reach out and get in touch with me that way. Okay? All right. There you go. All right, team, it's time for me to sign off. It's been great chatting with you all. Great questions today. Always good to have you here. I'm sorry that I didn't get to answer all the questions, but you know what to do. You can come back here next week and try to post them here for office hours, or you can use the code that we gave you today. You can come join us and get your question answered today, or at least in the next 24 to 48 hours. We have a 2 business day turnaround. So sometimes it gets super busy. But we always get back to you within 2 business days. And at the very least, you can get inside and start talking to people and getting answers from your peers, which is really exciting as well. So I hope you all decide to take me up on that and come join us. And I'll see you again real soon, okay? All right, team. Thanks again. Take care.